Hello everybody, Namaskar. In this lecture, we will study about spice powders, okay, where mainly we will discuss about the various techniques for grinding of spices, maybe traditional as well as advanced method of grinding. Then we will also take a few examples of specific spices and how their powders are made. Sambhar powder, finally packaging of the spice powder and the quality assurance tools. Okay. Spice powders are produced by grinding of dried spices. They are commercially available in the single or in the mixed form. Different spice powders, they are mixed in appropriate quantities and they are sold either in the curry powder, sambar powder, masala powder or so many things. And here in the spice powder there are two important things, that is there is low moisture content and accordingly low water activity and presence of the antimicrobial and natural antimicrobials etc. makes the spices to store better for the larger period of times. Okay. Also, however, during storage etc., the care should be taken, proper appropriate methods of packaging should be done, so that their functionalities are retained. Okay. So, the process of producing spice powders generally includes the preparations of raw materials, processing to form powders and then miscellaneous operations like mixing, separation, agglomeration, encapsulation and so on. So, grinding of spices, that is it is basically the size reduction method. Okay. It may be impact, compression, then shear, cutting, whatever operation may be used to reduce the particle size of the material. In the earlier classes, we have discussed about various machines which are used for grinding of fruits, vegetables etc. The similar thing with little variations, they can be used for grinding of spices as well. And the aim of the grinding is to obtain the spice powder with specific quality attributes, particularly the aroma and flavor. The selection of the appropriate size reduction machinery, that is the grinding machinery, requires the understanding of the machine parameters like grinding tool shape, size, sharpness, clearance and screen opening size etc., as well as the material characteristics of the spice like type of the spice, size, shape and hardness etc. So, conventional methods of grinding spices I will tell you in the next slide, but what happens in the most of the traditionally used grinders, they generate a lot of heat. Okay. That is and this heat maybe it may cause the product temperature rise from 42 to 95 degrees Celsius etc. Okay. And which depending upon the moisture content and essential oil content of the spice, and this high temperature rise of the product during conventional grinding may result into the significant losses of volatile oils. Okay, as well as there may be clogging of the grinder sieve due to high fiber and volatile oil content. There are problems with the sticking at the grinder's wall and the sieve due to high fat content or high consumption of energy due to heat dissipation during grinding etc. These are some of the problems, okay, in the conventional grinding. So, they typically that conventional machinery which are used for size reduction in the spices include their schematic is shown how they work, all right, and the mechanism on which they work and what are the general particle size or peripheral speed of the operation of these machines like pin and disc mill. Schematic, that is impact is used and here the peripheral speed may be 80 to 160 meter per second. Okay. Similarly, the wing and bitter mill, disc bitter mill, vertical tooth mill, cutting granules etc. All these are the standard grinding machines and their principle on which you can say. Also the hammer mill, there the impact is normally used. Ball mill, they use impact and shear to reduce the particle size. Roller mill, knife mill, granulator, or even turbo mill. Turbo mill uses impact, shear and cutting etc. for reducing the size. And schematic of the operation of the machine is shown in the figure. Then the problems caused by the high temperature in the conventional grinding can be overcome through the use of a low temperature grinding process that relies on the cryogenic fluid such as liquid nitrogen etc., and this process is known as cryogenic grinding. So, this cryogenic grinding is gaining popularity among the spices industry, spice powder manufacturing industry, and the main advantage here is the better retention of the volatiles and the flavors etc., and because the low temperature is used, then the particle size also one can get the desired nature. So, in this technique the product is processed at a temperature from between to minus 20 degrees Celsius, which is used for black pepper, to as low as minus 70 degrees Celsius for cumin seed, or in some cases even further lower temperature is used. So, a low heat temperature significantly restricts the temperature increase during grinding, and therefore, it has a positive effect on product quality, particularly in terms of volatile oil content. Lower feed temperature causes reduction of particle size, ensuring greater consistency, because the liquid nitrogen at a temperature at as low as minus 195 degrees Celsius, it causes oil to become brittle and thus facilitates the grinding operation. Okay. This is a schematic of a cryogenic grinding system, which is a very useful machine for spice grinding. See that there is a liquid nitrogen cylinder, which may be some either a digital weighing balance etc., so that the measured amount of liquid nitrogen can be circulated through this connecting pipe to the spice. Here that with the conveyor feed, the spice comes, and in this that is the cryogenic pre-cooler machine system, where the it comes in direct contact, the spice comes in direct contact with the liquid nitrogen or such other coolant. Okay. So, its temperature goes down and then it is passed to the grinder, that is it is a pin mill or hammer mill. So, ground spice is then taken to the cyclone separator, where that is or even a vibro sieving system, and then the particles are separated from the air liquid nitrogen. Okay. So, this is a schematic of the cryogenic grinding. So, as I told you that it has several advantages, like no grinder sieve clogging, since the low temperature makes the spice fibers brittle, more uniform distribution of flavor, less energy consumed in grinding process, lower fire risk, no dust production and hence no risk of dust explosion, and it is the lower risk of contamination etc., because very low temperature there is no contamination. So, here it in this slide this table the comparison between the conventional grinding and cryogenic grinding has been done. For example, the energy consumption, conventional has a high energy consumption and cryogenic grinding low energy consumption. Similarly, grinding of the soft material, if you see that is a very difficulty there in the conventional grinding, but it is possible, one can do it by the cryogenic grinding. Air pollution is high in case of conventional grinding, but there is no pollution in case of cryogenic grinding. Even throughput, if you see in the conventional grinding the throughput is low, but in the cryogenic grinding throughput is high. Initial cost or operation cost both is although low in conventional, but there may be the cryogenic grinding initial cost as well as operating cost may be high. Okay. So, grinding here a comparison has been done, the grinding method, powder preparation and the particle size of the spice powder, like you see that cinnamon, coriander, star anise, black pepper etc. There is the either knife mill is used at ambient temperature, and particle size are normally around less than or equal to 250 micron is obtained. In the this black pepper, where rotor mill and ambient, and rotor mill if you see cryogenic temperature. Under ambient temperature using rotor mill, one can get 326 to 352 micron particle size. Turmeric hammer mill is used. Under ambient, average particle size is obtained 472 micron. But the hammer mill under cryogenic system, it gives around 296 or 300 particle size. So this similarly black pepper, this hammer mill, low temperature 7.9 to 21.2 degrees Celsius, 160 to 150, and hammer mill ultra low temperature if you use minus 3.33 to 12.86, it gives a 150 to 160 micron size. So this is the how it is, what are the type of grinding machine is used, the condition whether ambient or cryogenic, accordingly one can get the particle size, various particle size. Okay. So here the effect of grinding temperature on particle size ranges of the spice powders. You can see that in cumin seed, if the grinding is done at minus 60 degrees Celsius, the volume mean diameter may be 55, volatile essential oil 3.3 ml per 100 gram. The same if it is ground at minus 130 degrees Celsius, the volume, that is the volume mean diameter will be 65. However, there is not much different on the essential oil, but if the temperature is minus 70, the volume mean diameter is 98. So the temperature when you go toward the lower side, that is minus 160, at such a low temperature, the volume mean diameter of the is lowest. Okay. Similarly, in the black pepper also you can see here the data, cumin seed. So if you go toward the lower temperature, however, in the case of turmeric, it is the conventional grinding you see, that is 472, and in the cryogenic grinding 296. Now we will see that some individual spices, how they are made into the powder. Ground turmeric is mostly used on the retail market and by food processors, okay, for making turmeric powders. That is, the rhizome is taken, cleaned, then it is cured and cooked, then dried, and it is polished, grind, sieving and packaging. These are the methods. The various methods like cleaning and wearing, curing, drying, grinding, that is the drying up to this. In the earlier class also we discussed about this turmeric. So these are the thing, only thing. The dried turmeric, that is the rhizome, is used. Traditionally in India, plate mills or hammer mills are used for grinding, making into turmeric powder, but attrition mill, pin mill can also be used. Okay. Red chili powder, that is the harvested red chilies, well ripened chili parts are taken, okay, and they are kept for 2 to 3 days to develop uniform red color. Then they are subjected to sun drying or artificial drying, dried to up to 8 to 10% final moisture content. Then they are graded or sorted according to size, shape, weight and color. And dry cleaning is done to remove all the foreign matters that lowers the quality and endangers the sale of the commodity. Then stem cutting, that is removing the stem makes crushing easier. Crushing and milling, here 2-3 round of proper grinding to obtain the red chili powder. That is, after drying they are ground to make the powder, and even the vacuum conveyors etc. are used for conveying the chili powder, which is finally, that is the powder water content, moisture content may be up to 8% or so, it is finally packed in the polythene pouches. Okay. Similarly, the cardamom powder, large cardamom powder, it is produced by grinding of dried seeds with moisture content of 10% into fine powder, is obtained by sieving. It is used as a flavoring and preservative of different types of coffee, liquors, confections and beverages. Volatile oil content may be 2 to 4%. It is the principal aroma giving compound in the large cardamom. Large cardamom powder is produced by grinding of dried seeds with moisture content of around 10% to fine powder, followed by sieving. Okay. So in the large cardamom, curing is very important operation. It determines the quality of the dried capsule. it is done to lower the moisture content to 10 to 12%, where weight ratio from fresh to cured capsule is around 4:1 to 5:1, and the ideal temperature of the curing is 45 to 55 degrees, so that the proper flavor volatiles etc. are produced. So, for the curing there are traditional curing bhattis which are constructed using the mud and the bricks. The capsules are spread over the drying platforms and hot smoke from the firewood are passed through. Takes about 35 to 40 hours for complete drying. However, it has a poor operating thermal efficiency. So, in some case these traditional curing bhattis are modified, that is modified with flue pipe curing house, that is modified bhatti. Here indirect system of drying, the flue pipe is connected to a fire plate with an exit provided. Smoke does not come in direct contact, okay, where original flavor color is retained, and capacity may be 200 to 400 kg of fresh capsules, and drying time may be 17 to 24 hours. And even gasifier curing system may be used sometime, like which is solid fuels into gaseous fuel by partial combustion. It is updraft type of biomass gasifier, and it gives a better quality of the dried material. So, these are some of the equipment which are used, same thing which we described, like large cardamom, then traditional curing bhatti, it is or modified bhatti, that gasifier system, or even solar dryer or dryer. So, all these are either of these, they can be used for curing as well as drying, and after drying they are pulverized, then filled using fall fill and seal machine and labeled. You get large cardamom powder. Then ginger powder, again ginger is an important ingredient in curry powder preparation. Also it is used in making ginger wine, ginger beer, or even baked goods. For ginger powder, the main raw material is dry ginger. So, the ginger, in the earlier class we discussed that cleaning and washing are the important operation, okay, that the rhizomes normally they are placed in boiling water for 10 minutes, okay, then they are sorted according to shape, size, etc., okay, and the clean brown, yellow and bright colored gingers, they are preferred, okay, and these gingers are then they are sliced and finally ground and sieved and packaged, you get proper material. So, this is peeling, bleaching. In the case of peeling, the peeling serves to remove the scaly epidermis and facilitates the drying, okay. Then this bleaching is done by dipping in a slurry of slacked lime, that is calcium hydroxide, till the rhizome becomes uniformly white in color, and liming gives ginger a better appearance and less susceptibility to the attack of insect pest during storage and shipping. Then finally it is dried, this peeled and bleached ginger slices, they are dried to a moisture content of 10% or so, and either sun drying or mechanical drying at around 60 degrees Celsius temperature can be used. And in mechanical drying, the drying time for the sliced ginger is around 5 to 6 hours, and for the peeled ginger maybe 16 to 18 hours. Then after drying, they are subjected to pulverizing, that is milling, grinding, to obtain a small particle size with good product quality in terms of flavor and color, and the hammer mill, artisan mill or pin mills etc. are used. These are the equipment for making ginger powder. As you see the figures of fresh ginger, ginger peeled and washed, after the slicing, dryer, then dried ginger chips which are pulverized to get powder. Okay. Then coriander powder, another very important commodity of spice. The coriander seeds are completely dry when they begin to detach from the stalk. Then at that time they are collected, ground to obtain the fine powders. Okay. So, coriander powder is used in seafoods, sodas, pickles, bakery and curry recipes etc. So, the mainly processing operations are cleaning, then drying and finally grinding or pulverizing. So, cleaning uses vibrio separator, even electronic color sorters also used to separate discolored sheets, and a gravity separator can also be used. In the drying, here the temperature should not exceed more than 100 degrees Celsius, as preferable maybe 70 degree or so, or less than that. Solar or mechanical drying both can be used, but traditionally solar drying is used. Grinding is done to fine powder you can get. Okay. Black pepper powder, that is a harvested, that is fully mature black pepper, that is 1 to 2 berries start turning yellow to red in each spike. At that time it is taken, and the processing we had studied in the earlier lecture. Okay. So, that solar dried, that is the for 3 to 5 days are mechanical dry, and these dried papers, they are in a hammer mill, pin mill or plate mills, etc. They are ground, pulverized in fine powder and packaged suitably. Okay. Ingredient used for processing bulk black pepper powder, they are again mechanical paper thresher, solar cabinet dryer, black pepper spiral separator, black pepper cleaner cum grader, finally grinder, and the filling machine, FFS machine, and labeling machine, you get a black pepper powder. Then mint powder. Mint powder is that is the dehydrator, which is wash and then drain thoroughly on adsorbent towels and dehydrate, that is the paper, that is the before drying, that is the leaves, mint leaves are taken, they are properly dried, rubbed and adsorbent towels and dehydrated, and after that they are exposed to the natural air drying method, where they dry in the dark by hanging the bunches upside down in paper bags, and choose a well ventilated dust free area for drying, and where the drying may take around 1 to 2 weeks, because it is the low temperature drying is done. Okay. In the case of natural air drying, oven drying or hot air drying can also be done, where the temperature is used less than 80 degrees Celsius. Okay. Here the leaves are spread thinly in the thin sheet, all right, for about 2 to 4 hours it may take the drying time. Microwave drying is considered better, where that is microwave for 1 to 2 minutes and check after 1 minute, and microwave in addition to 10-second increment as needed. So, obviously that is the here, because if microwave drying is used, it will give, that is the, as far as the better retention of color, better retention of flavor, etc., and you get a powder of good bioactive composition. Then Sambhar powder. Sambhar powder is a popular blend of spices used to make sambar, a popular broth which is made of vegetable and cooked lentils and tamarind paste. Sambar powder can also be added to curries, vegetable dishes, soups or stews toward the end or cooking to impart a typical South Indian flavor to the dish. So, ingredients for the sambar powder include coriander seed, dried chili, pepper, turmeric, black gram, fenugreek, cumin, asafoetida and curry leaves in the proportion as given here in the table. So, these materials are taken in the appropriate recipe, appropriate quantity, spices are taken, then these spices are individually dried and then roasted as the case may be, and finally pulverized to the desired size, and then after grinding they are mixed in the proper proportion, and sometimes even 2-3 similar spices they can be mixed together in their similar temperature, etc. They can be uniform, that if their roasting temperature, etc., can be of same size. So, that can also be done, but one has to try and experiment with this, and then finally packaging. So, generally drying should be done at 55 to 60 degrees Celsius for 1 hour, roasting may be 180 degrees Celsius for 2 to 3 minutes, and enhances the flavor. Grinding under controlled temperature condition or even cryogenic grinding is recommended, and then mixing using ribbon blender. That is, all these ground spices they are mixed. And in fact, the same method that is used for making different masalas in the market. There are various masala, chicken masala, curry powder, chole masala, and all those things. So, there all these spices in appropriate quantity, appropriate proportion, roasted and ground masala, they are mixed using ribbon blender or such other blender in appropriate quantity as per the formulation, and they are packaged and sold as the specific branded masalas. Okay. Then packaging of the spice powder, very important operation. It protects and preserves the spices with stand-up pouches, with notching locks and gas release valves, tear notches, heavy duty zipper tops, hang holes, pour spots, etc. Can be used for sealing the pouches. And both for the bulk packaging of the spices, paper bags laminated with HDPE woven fabrics on the inner side, and inside a liner HDPE or HDPE can be used, or even multi-wall paper sticks, textile bags and HDPE woven sticks are used for bulk packaging of the powdered spices. In the institutional packs, BOPP laminate pouches put into a corrugated box as a territory package. Ground spices packaged in aluminum pouches and paperboard cartons can also be used. Even curry powders are placed in the PET jars. Okay. Then quality assurance mechanism for the powder spices, that is the right stage of harvest decides the quality, not only the right stage of the harvest, but the appropriate processing and post harvest operations, that is cleaning, proper winnowing to remove the dirt, then storage in hygienic and well ventilated godowns, it ensures a good product. Its specifications include both total ash, acid insoluble ash, volatile oil, moisture content, color, granulation. So, all these are the properties which should be properly, there are protocols, they should be analyzed, and it should be ensured that they contain these values. Spice powders are stored in tightly closed containers below 4.4 degrees Celsius and 60% humidity. Some spices need storage at lower temperature of about 2 to 5 degrees Celsius to prevent mold infestation. Okay. Even high levels of moisture in ground or whole spices indicate or it facilitate the it indicates that low quality, because it can facilitate mold or other growth. Okay. These are the for the quality specifications, that is for different spices. There are different grades, and in the Bureau of Indian Standards or even FSSAI also has decided, like in the IS 1798 of 1961 can be used to for quality specification for black pepper or whole and ground, chili powder IS 2445 1963, coriander powder IS that 244 of 1963, curry powder similarly, turmeric powder, they are given different specifications in this. Even there are methods of sampling and test of spices and condiments are provided in the IS 1997 to 19. So, these methods etc. are well regarded. So, industry must use this and then must ensure that the spices, that the powders etc. they meet to the quality requirements. Okay. So, the market factors, in fact, the global market for spices continued demand during 83 468 kilotons by 2024, and it is a CAGR of 2.84 from 2018 to 2024. And in financial year 20, spices worth $3.6 billion were exported from India during financial year 19, a total of 1.1 million tons of spices and spices products valued at US dollar 2.8 billions were exported from the country. So, you can see here that is the Indian spices powders and blended spice market by regions and by value from the 2015 to 2025, that is the forecast. Okay. The north, south, east and west, and their value is also is, and this is increasing, that is the both by the value it is increasing in the 2025. The forecast is that the to the great increase in the CAGR of about 5% increasing. Finally, I come to the end of this lecture, that as spice powder processing is very important operations, and it should be conducted as far as possible. Cryogenic grinding should be encouraged to ensure that these spices, they have full potential of their bioactives, antioxidant, antimicrobial, etc. Okay. And so the selection of appropriate grinding method and grinding machinery is important, and then of that after the grinded spices should be properly packaged, okay, and it should be accordingly stored in a cool dry place to keep it its quality intact. Okay. These are the references used in this lecture. Finally, thank you very much for your patience.